What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports. I know my hair is crazy. I wanted to get it retwisted before this video, but we have breaking news. We didn't have time for all that. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins have agreed to a blockbuster, very rare kind of player-for-player kind of trade here, and we have Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 7th-round pick heading to Pittsburgh in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th-round pick. Jalen Ramsey, who has not attended the Dolphins mandatory minicamp yet, is being traded. This is kind of what the whole NFL world expected. But on top of the trade, he'll be getting an extra $3 million added onto his contract, which they need to make the trade work. And the Dolphins will pay $7 million of his remaining $26.6 million owed. The Steelers will pick up the rest. And this trade blew my mind. I'm at work. I'm driving the truck. I look over at my phone and I see breaking news. So it caught my eye. Jalen Ramsey is heading to Pittsburgh. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm thinking about the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I didn't know Minkah Fitzpatrick was traded yet. I'm like, this defense is going to be all-time crazy good. It's already elite. Now you just add Jalen Ramsey. I'm like, how did they even make this happen? And then I'm driving, I'm talking to my friend. She didn't understand. She's like, I mean, what's the big deal? I'm like, yo, this is Jalen Ramsey heading to the Steelers. Then I see Jonnu Smith is heading to the Steelers. I'm like, what are the Dolphins doing? How is this possible? And I get to where I'm going. I'm not even getting out the truck to check in at the guard shack. I'm looking. What was the details of the trade? And then I see Minkah Fitzpatrick is heading back to Miami. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And it left me a little curious because Minkah Fitzpatrick is not only one of, if not the best safety in the league. He's 3 years younger than Jalen Ramsey. He's cheaper than Jalen Ramsey, not by a lot. And I'm just going to say he's probably better than Jalen Ramsey. I think a lot of people would agree today he's better than Jalen Ramsey. And so I was really lost at what the Steelers were trying to do here. And then, Jalen Ramsey was getting the pay boost on top of that. So I was like, what are they trying to accomplish? And then I thought about it. I shifted past Jalen Ramsey, Minkah Fitzpatrick swap, and I looked at the trade as a whole. And then you see Jonnu Smith coming to the Steelers offense. So not only does Aaron Rodgers have Pat Freiermuth to throw the ball to from the tight end spot, they'll have Jonnu Smith, who caught 88 passes for 884 yards and 8 touchdowns, on top of having DK Metcalf. So the Steelers kind of really keep their defense loaded, and it's still much improved. They signed Darius Slay, Juan Thornhill, drafted Derek Hammond, and now they added Jalen Ramsey to replace Minkah Fitzpatrick. Top to bottom, this unit still has no weaknesses. And then now offensively, you add another weapon for Aaron Rodgers, who's aging. He's going to need a little bit more help than he's needed throughout his career. And so this deal is really kind of a no-brainer. It's like we don't really lose production defensively, and we get a lot better offensively for our aging quarterback who's going to need as many weapons as possible. And so this deal makes perfect sense for the Steelers. And what the Steelers need to do now is stop messing around with TJ Watt. Get the deal done. Get that man the contract. Yes, he's going to be the highest paid defensive player probably ever. You need to make it happen. This guy is a true definition of a generational talent. He hasn't been to mandatory minicamp this far, and I don't think he will until he gets an extension from the Steelers or from somebody else. And don't let it be from somebody else. Rumors are having it that NFL teams are starting to monitor the situation a little bit closer. They're starting to put their potential trade packages together for TJ Watt, and the Steelers do not need to let this man get away. Especially not this year with this roster they have constructed. Just get the man the contract. Keep him in the black and gold. I'm really high on the Steelers. I know I am every year. If you guys watched my channel before the big break, you guys know I was always pretty high on the Steelers. So this is nothing new, but this year's different. This year's different. If you look at this roster top to bottom, this year is different. I can really see the Steelers potentially making a deep playoff run, if not a Super Bowl run, with this roster right here. As for the Miami Dolphins, they get their 2028 first-round pick back in Minkah Fitzpatrick. Not sure how thrilled he is to be back in Miami, but there's no doubt in my mind that the Miami Dolphins needed him. And they really did it in the best case scenario. Jalen Ramsey was disgruntled. He wasn't in mandatory minicamp, and they kind of got to trade him for the best safety in the league. It's kind of a win-win if I'm the Miami Dolphins. Usually with disgruntled players, you can't really get their full value, and they were able to extract the full value out of Jalen Ramsey in this trade. So good job to Miami. They got a 5th-round pick as well, and they traded off their 2027 7th-round pick. So they moved up about 2 rounds in the 2027 draft. But does this change anything for the Miami Dolphins? No. The Miami Dolphins situation is the exact same as it was with Jalen Ramsey, with Minkah Fitzpatrick. The question is not about the defense. The defense held up pretty good last year. It was one of the better defensive units in the league. The question is, can Tua Tagovailoa stay healthy? Can they keep him upright? Because they had 8 wins last year and they missed Tua for a lot of the season. So have your starting quarterback that knows the offense, that can fling the ball around the field. This is a playoff team. And so the question isn't about what the defense can do. It's, can the offense keep Tua Tagovailoa up, and can he stay healthy? And if those things can happen, the Dolphins will have a really, really good shot at making the playoffs this year. This trade was crazy. Usually you don't see star players get traded for other star players in any of the major sports. Usually in the NBA, it's a bunch of draft picks and some young players. In the MLB, it's a bunch of prospects. In the NHL, it's a similar story. And in the NFL, same thing. Usually you get a first round pick, sometimes 2. You'll get a second round pick in there mixed in. But you rarely do you see a Jalen Ramsey, Minkah Fitzpatrick swap. Now, obviously, they got Jonnu Smith in the deal. We can't let him go under the radar, as that's not a big pickup because it's a huge addition. But this is still a really rare situation, especially in the NFL. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. See you there.